Hey guys, Ryan Itzen with Cycle News. We just wrapped up our first day on the 2023 Husqvarna FC and TC models. This is our first ride on the 2023s. We rode the Factory Edition or Rockstar Edition Husqvarna a few months ago, and we just got back from riding the 2023 KTMs. So today we rode the 250, 350, 450 FC models. These are the motocross 4-strokes. We also rode the TC 125 and the TC 250. These are the new fuel-injected offerings that are 2-stroke models. There is no fuel-injected 300 2-stroke for motocross from Husqvarna. There is a KTM 300 SX. We were kind of hoping that that bike would also be unveiled from Husqvarna. They will have a TX model, which is the enduro model. That will be fuel-injected and a 300 2-stroke, but no motocross-specific model. That's kind of the big news. As far as some of the other differences, in the past, I've kind of talked about the KTM, the Husqvarna, and the Gas being kind of the GMC, Chevy, and Cadillac of the world. You know, the Silverado and the Sierra are almost the identical truck. They just have a couple different upgrades that make it, you know, a different price point, and then obviously people are going to like that more than the other. For 2023, the KTM and the Husqvarna are almost identical. As far as specs go, in the past, the KTM or the Husqvarna had, you know, Magura brakes versus Brembo brakes, and it had, you know, this clutch versus that clutch. Now it's pretty much all the same across the board. The main differences between the Husqvarna and the KTM are the plastic designs. Aside from the color, the Husqvarna has a new gray, white, and yellow color scheme. It's pretty cool. I kind of like it. It's growing on me. If it was a little bit more one color, like if it was all gray, I think that would be really cool. But you know, people are going to do what they want and be able to customize it moving forward. So the other differences are the plastic design is much more racy on the KTM. It's kind of got the textured area for the boot. The seat and the seat cover are different. So on the Husqvarna, it's a little more neutral. It's kind of how it was. If you didn't know, it kind of looks similar to what it did the last couple years as far as the shroud design. But moving back on the bike, the seat is different than it was. It's the same as the KTM seat, but the body paneling is a little different. So there's a little more contact area, and there's actually a plastic piece that covers the shock area, the shock adjustment. So you actually have to pop that off. That's not on the KTM, so it's a little different for the Husqvarna. You have a little more contact patch as a rider, a little more area to hold your feet on, which can be an advantage. The Husqvarna behind me, it also has a sealed off air box. They say this doesn't really do anything as far as power goes, the same horsepower all around. I think it kind of makes it a little quieter to ride. And then maybe from a maintenance point, you know, if you're pressure washing, you're not going to get any water in there, so that's kind of nice, but not a ton of performance differences. There really only is one, and that's the KTM and the Husqvarna have the same components from WP as far as suspension goes. The Husqvarna just is 10 millimeters lower. Now this is how it was last year for 2022. All of the Husqvarna models were 10 millimeters lower. They have the same amount of suspension travel, they're just lower to the ground. And so on the Rockstar Edition, that was not the case. They had gone away from that, but now for the 23 production model, it is back to being 10 millimeters lower than what the KTM is. And what they kind of talk about, the reason they do this is, one, it's more friendly for beginner riders, so a shorter rider or somebody who's new to riding, they're not as tall off the ground, and also for vet riders who maybe are a little shorter, this is going to be an advantage for those guys. Personal preference, in years past, I kind of have not liked it. I'm 6'1", so to be any lower to the ground on a bike, I'm not a huge fan of. I do think it makes it a little more nimble or more center of gravity, I guess, but it also makes the bike feel a little longer in my opinion, especially after just coming off the KTMs. This bike does feel a little longer, and you know, it's hard to tell the differences as far as power goes. That would be the one thing if I had to pick the bike apart. Moving on to the 2-strokes, they did mess with the mapping from our trip to Redbud to here, and today these two tracks could not be any more different. We had pristine weather at Redbud and loamy conditions today. It's hard packed California, it's hot. I personally only rode the TC 125, and to me the power was a lot different than when it was at Redbud. It kind of fell flat on its face towards the top, and I was shifting way more than I anticipated. Obviously I know it's a 125, you got to shift a lot, but I was in 4th and 5th gear trying to jump jumps, and it just felt like the power curve was falling off. They did inform us that this bike won't be in production until September of this year, so there's obviously going to be time to adjust that and move forward, and they're definitely taking feedback from the riders as we ride today. So to wrap this up, it's not a ton of differences now between the KTM and the Husqvarna. It's really hard to choose between one bike or the other. I'm really excited we got to ride these things. The new color looks really cool. I really like that Nardo gray look, and I think if that was the way the whole bike looked, it would be really spot on. But I do get the brand heritage with the blue and yellow. All the new bikes have the new mapping controls with the map 1 and map 2. They also have quick shift and traction control, which quick shift is still taking me some time to learn, but I think guys who are going to have this as a personal bike are going to feel it out really easily and get used to it and have fun riding it. As far as which bike I would pick, one or the other, it's really hard to choose. We haven't had a chance to ride these bikes back to back yet because they're so new, but right now it's really hard to tell. Another cool thing about the new KTMs and Husqvarnas are the fuel-injected two-stroke. This is a really cool technology moving forward, and I think riders who choose to ride it on the motocross world or in the off-road world are going to be very happy. And just the ease of use, the performance benefits, I think all of that is a really great step in the right direction, and excited to get some more time on this. So thanks for watching. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Check us out on social media, and until next time, we'll catch you guys out at the track.